Hey everyone, this is Robin. I'm here with your NEPA shows coming up this week on Friday, November 18th.
Hey everyone, I am Ben, your host of the podcast tonight, Beyond the Break, and this is, wait, which way? That way. Hey.
I'm Robin, but you knew that.
We all knew that, but we love Robin, so we like to hear it anyway.
The production manatee, because somebody's got to do it.
You're the brains of the outfit. I'm just here for the beard.
Smile,
so
that's it.
Tonight is a little bit of a different lineup than we usually do. First up, Ale is not here, but he is behind the scenes tonight. I don't know why he thought it was smart to leave me in front of a camera, but he did. Thankfully, he sent in Robin to keep me on track. Because
good luck to us both.
But yeah, so we had a very interesting week. You were on PA Live, which was really cool. On the actual couch.
Yes, this time I got to sit with Rachel and Chris and Will. Shout out to Will from the Keystone Stage. He suggested it ahead of the event and set everything up. He was just like, send me this information. And I was like, dope, dude. Thank you.
Yo,
so big
hashtag couch life. That's like goals right there, is to get on my couch. I'm like, I think at one point I was like, yo, can we do a couch interview? And everyone was like, I don't know how. And then he's like, I know a guy.
It's kind of like, you know, it's a comfy couch too. I'm gonna say that.
Oh, see, that'd be dangerous. I'd be like, not leaving. We're done. But yeah, like I know we have a little taster of the opening that Rachel did to plug this weekend's event. We are finally at the judging part of the Big Break season 4. As many of you know, if you don't know, then where have you been? So this week we've got a little video clip, quick introing what's happening this weekend. This Saturday at the Keystone Stage. If you do the thing, AL.
On Saturday, there's great music with a competitive edge. Doors open at noon at the Keystone Stage in Oliphant, and the 12 remaining bands in the Big Break competition will compete for a total package of professional-grade prizes designed to launch a new band into stardom. This is your chance to be a part of the magic.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
I'm excited for this
part
Saturday.
of the magic. Dude, there's going to be 13 bands, and if somebody gets their tickets ahead of time, the tickets are $10. That is less than $1 a band.
That's amazing. I've paid $20 to get into a show that ended from like at midnight, and this goes from like noon till midnight, and then I'm gonna do karaoke afterwards, so it goes till 2. Like, if you guys really want to hang out and be some BYOBs and make it a night of it, like, I'll be there.
I'm gonna take my hoops and my toys and stuff, so there's gonna be glow fun too.
Yep. And I'm gonna have Kickstand's gonna be there. Kickstand's been sponsoring us and supporting us really hardcore throughout this entire thing. There it is. That's this weekend. Look at all those bands.
So we've got, and I don't know if we've really announced this yet, but let's say it for sure. This Saturday, headlining for all 12 of our bands is going to be Static in the Attic. They are a local group. They do some original stuff. I'm sure they do some jammy covers and whatnot, but check that out. We got Sour Station, SPUNDAY Mourning, Intoxication, Phased, All Day Special, Before the End, Funk Musket, Dead Hour, Bullied by the Elderly, Black Winter, Fatal Misconception, and Burden of Guilt, with the surprise slide in there at the end. Check it out.
They came right in. That was last week when I wasn't here. They were I was getting my hair did, but they
did the live voting. That's right.
last week was trivia. That was they won by vote-in last week, right? Because we had a band drop, and that's awesome.
That was pretty exciting to watch too. Cheers to everybody who joined in and hopped on Twitch to go vote. That was fun.
I would have had anxiety the entire time. Like, I would have just be in the corner going the whole time.
What are we doing today?
Yeah, I always use. What was that?
What are we doing today?
What are we going to do? We are introducing our judges, and they did some interviews about the different categories that the bands need to excel at in order to get those votes. So I know that we have a little video that intros the judges so that we don't have to, I think. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Ma. So we're going to play that video in showing them, and then we'll do a little music video like we always do, and then we'll get into it about each category, and we'll play the little clips for the interviews of the judges so you can kind of get a vibe of what they're looking for. So if you're in a band, pay attention. This is what you need to know for this weekend if you haven't already.
We got Daniel
homework
Rosegrove here of the Boog, and also now Big Break judge, former contestant.
I'm looking forward to doing the judging thing, not because I like judging people, but because I like music. So I feel like this is definitely a spot where being in a band myself and like kind of already judging our own stuff off these criteria, you know, we're not like necessarily doing the whole like writing songs for the people thing. We're writing songs for ourselves, but you know, we have our own like kind of stringent criteria.
It's a tight little dance. You gotta be honest with yourself in terms of like, all right, is this my favorite style? No, but
yeah, I won't.
You know, they're a good band.
Yeah, I won't let that like be a determining factor for me, because I'm going to be more interested in, you know, things like the songwriting content, like okay, does this sound like very original? Is it kind of like you know, I've heard like 50 other things like this in the radio. I think that's going to be a big thing for me.
We got Mr. Friday Night with Thurman Wilson of Shagway Inc. What's up?
Swagway. When I was in school, I just made up a word and I just started using that word for everything. And then as I started to find my passion in life, and I just use it as my own business. So I took that name that I made up and I made it my own business.
Okay, you work with Sanctuary Studios.
Yeah. Before that though, I've had hip hop artists, R&B artists, punk artists.
You excited to you know,
to be a judge? I'm pumped.
Yeah. Super
pumped, man. Like I was watching it last year. I didn't get to go. Unfortunately, I had to do an event myself, but this year I made it a part of my goal to go to the show, regardless if I was a judge or not. Now having the opportunity to be a judge, as you know, is just cooler. You know, it's a lot cooler. Who doesn't want to be a judge sometimes?
We got Eric Boylan, a music teacher and photographer, and also a Big Break judge. What's up, Eric?
Hey, how you doing? So I actually have been teaching in the Abington Heights School District for the last 11 years. I did my first 4 years at the high school. I taught the high school marching band, and I spent the last however many years it would be now teaching 4th grade violin, some general music classes, and beginning band, really whatever they kind of feel like throwing at me class-wise as well. I've also been, you know, in multiple different wedding bands around the area and different bands throughout my entire career of playing music. My real instrument is the drums, but I do also dabble in guitar and piano and everything like that. So I've been doing this for a long while now. When I started my music career, I was actually I went to Pittston area, and one of the first bands I was ever actually in was with Chris Cerulli. So you wouldn't think that the first band that I was ever in was with the guy from Motionless in White, but when you look at me, but it was that was me and Chris started a band back in high school, and it went for a little while, and then he broke off and obviously started doing his own thing, and I kind of went my own directions.
Big Break.
There we have it. There are our judges.
That's exciting.
That's really exciting.
Eric, Thurman, and Daniel coming up Saturday to the Keystone Stage to judge all 12 of our bands.
And I'm not a judge, but I will be judging everyone because of who I am as a person.
And our fans can judge everyone too. We're going to need everybody in the audience to clap and hoot and holler as loud as they can on
Make
Saturday.
all the noise.
Because we are going to be measuring how loud everybody can get for each band, and that's going to affect their scores.
Those decibels matter. We've got an actual decibel meter that we hold up on stage that listens to you. So you really have to make noise for the band that you want to help boost their scores. So audience participation is always a plus, always a good thing. But there's so many different things that involved in the judging process. And since we always play a music video at the beginning of our thing, we will do tonight. Tonight we're going to play the Boog because our judge, Daniel, is actually in the Boog. And we're going to play...
waiting for the earth to turn so we can learn that control is a fantasy. Waxing and waning, and I'm just praying that this abomination will take every exception and not rule. Waiting for the seventh load to pass and to know who makes it out alive this time.
We like the boog. All right, that was the boog. That was actually Waxing and Waning, their season 3 Beyond Big Break entries music video that they played, that they entered with last year. So they have experience. Daniel has the experience with it. But I know
this is the first time somebody who's competed is coming back as a judge, so that's pretty exciting.
Oh, really? See, it's my first time. I volunteered like one time last year. That was it. This year, this year it's like do the thing. But yeah, so like before we like get into the meat of the show, which is us going through the categories and showing the interviews with the judges, I just kind of want to give a quick rundown. I mean, I know pretty much everyone that's watching knows what the Big Break is, but I think that just in case, we should let people know a little bit about it.
Yeah,
it's a huge competition. Like we've got bands from the tri-state area that all entered earlier this year. And round 1, they actually had to create a music video from scratch, amateur music video, without hiring out any help to enter. After they created those videos during the past month, well, more than a month now, everyone had to go in and vote for who their favorite music video. You had to vote for 3 a day, and everyone voted. And by vote, we managed to come up with our top 12 winners, and then we announced at our reveal show who the top 9 winners were, that we were actually going to do 12 winners, and now here we are, finally at the point where you have judges coming in this weekend to judge these original bands with original music in these different categories, to help them get enough points to go on the next round, which happens next month on the 16th, which will be the finale show with the final winners and everything. So it's a lot. We've been doing this we started almost like behind the scenes. We started like almost a year ago, I think we're at.
About a year. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And we're gonna get about three weeks off after the contest is over before we start for next year, if that.
3 weeks. That's not fair.
I'm rounding up. We're probably not gonna get that much. But
or we'll start another podcast or something.
But right. Well, we also we've learned a lot, because honestly, I don't know if everyone really realized this, but those of us running the Big Break and doing it, like AL created this thing, and then he got all of us to volunteer. No one's getting paid to do this. Like, we're all volunteers doing this to try and create this giant contest. and like it's a lot, and we love doing it. It's passion for local music that makes us want to do this kind of stuff. So I just kind of want to share that little bit there. Like, we're not in it for the money. In fact, there are times that like we're like, yeah, I mean, there are times we've spent more money than we had. Like I definitely had when we had the weekend where we couldn't, I had to run sound, and I had to call off my other gig to come to this just because I wanted to make sure it was good. And like, no, I appreciate. I'm not saying it for the love and appreciation. I'm just saying like that's how much all of us are sacrificing to do this, Yoka. And like, it's good, it's fun, and we just want you to support it too. So if you haven't already decided to come to the Saturday's performance, starting at noon, going till midnight, and then karaoke with me afterwards, I will be drinking kickstands. I can make no promises for quality of karaoke, but it might be more fun or less fun depending on you. The more I drink, the better you sound.
Burgundy suit on it. You're gonna sell the world, Ben. That was smart. I love that. And you're so right about all of it.
But yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of passion in this project for all of us, and we really hope that you guys can come support us and support the bands and give them your love too, because everyone needs it. But now I think we're going to get, like I said, to the meat of it. So the categories, which have slipped my mind at the moment because memory of a steel sieve here. Luckily, Johnny Acquainting interviewed all of the judges with the categories. So AL, if you could please play.
Criteria, right? Is that what we're doing now?
We're jumping in the judging criteria. Like this is how you get judged. AL's hiding in the other room, and so his job is to hit play on the first category now.
We start out musical ability / tightest band. I like that. You know, the definition and the street definition. So the cohesiveness and confidence of the unit, overall band sound and proficiency on each instrument, full clear notes, and steady tempo start to finish.
Okay, yeah, definitely think that's a very important category. The cohesiveness, I feel like that's something that you can't really fake. I guess it can be something that a band can learn, but there's also like
and develop. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I feel like kind of, you know, you get a group of people together for like the initial jam session and be like, hey, let's jam together and see what happens. And it's really magical when something just clicks right off the bat, you know, like there's this musical chemistry. Feeling. Yeah. But that's not to say, I don't think you need to have that from the start, but it definitely helps.
Did it all come together? Like, how does it all look coming together? Like, you don't want to have the bass is all the way on the opposite side of the stage while the other guys is jamming over here, and this guy just sounds like, you know what, you don't want it to sound like it's all over the place. So there has cohesiveness has to be in there. A lot of practice would show how tight your band is, you know, like how many times you've been on stage, how many different stages you guys have probably been on would really show. It would show on stage. You could tell who's been together, what type of chemistry you have on stage with each other. Yeah, that's where it's at.
So when I'm really looking for that, you know, I mean, this really reads to me as like a rubric that I would use in school when I'm testing my students. So I'm kind of reading it the same way in that same extent, that I'm looking for the way that the group interacts with each other, but I'm also looking for the individual musicianship between each person. So I'm looking to see that each person is competent and confident on their instrument, but I'm also looking to see that they're interacting with each other musically. I'm not saying like physically, but that you could tell that they understand where the next part of the song is coming up. You know, the drummer is listening to the vocalist to understand where the end of the phrase is. The bassist is listening to the drummer to make sure that there's some sort of cohesiveness between the bass drum, the kick drum, and the bass. That, you know, the guitarists are listening to the vocalist and the drummer to make sure that everything is playing together and that phrases are finishing themselves, but they're not rushing to get to that point. Just that the music is happening organically within the band without having any sort of hiccups or anything in between.
So teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
I'm totally nerding out over these judges right now. We've got 3 very qualified, intelligent, entertainment industry individuals, and
very different places too. So it's like a good spectrum of judges too. Like they're all going to be looking at you, at these bands from very different angles, from their own respective history.
Totally.
and like they said, you know, cohesiveness, the big deal. You've got to be able to read your band and know each other, and that takes practice and time together. You spend enough time together, you're going to read each other's body movements and know what's going on, especially if something goes wrong. So you know, definitely want to see what happens if you guys can play well together, you know, be a good team, because a band is not just a team. I believe the next category is your overall stage presence. How do you present to yourself? So I'm interested to see how judgy our judges will judge the stage presence of our bands.
Let's see.
Go ahead. Let's see.
Stage presence. That actually ties right into what I was saying with moving around and using the full stage, interacting with other band members and acknowledging the crowd.
So I feel like this one kind of hits a little close to home because it's always something I felt like my band and myself could do better, and it's something we've actively tried to work on. I think it's really important to engage with the audience, because I think Wesley has said before so much that you know, people can listen to music without being at the place, right? You don't have to be at a venue to listen to the music, but like you go somewhere, you physically go somewhere for a show as well as the music, you know? So there's got to be the show aspect that's really important to really engage people. And I feel like you give a lot of energy, you are more than likely going to get a lot of energy back. And it's
100%,
like,
makes sense. Yeah.
So this is where I'm definitely looking at the physicality of what the band is doing. I'm not looking for it to be cheesy or corny in any way, shape, or form. That if you overdo it, it gets a little bit out there.
Or if that's what you're going for, you gotta go for it.
You gotta really go for it.
You gotta really go for it.
Yeah, it's kind of, for me being a former marching band director, I know I sound like the biggest nerd saying this, but you know, we do have to teach the kids how to kind of perform on a football field and get them to portray what's happening and get the audience pumped up and excited in some way, shape, or form. And it is so much harder to do than you think. You know, like a lot of people, it's just our natural being is to just stand there and not do that. So we have to kind of think about how can we make that work with the musical surrounding that we're doing. So obviously I'm looking at the genre that each band is playing and how they would interact. Obviously, you know, I'm not going to be judging the metal band exactly the same way that I'm going to judge the funk band. I'm looking to see, is it matching the persona of the group itself?
I'm loving this, man.
Yeah, for sure. Everything Daniel said just totally resonated.
Yeah, I'm over here like, yeah, in the background like, yes. Yeah. No, it's like honestly though, it really is like, even like with I always obviously compare it to my own personal experiences. Like when I DJ, I just had a conversation last night where like there's Ben, who you hang out with and know, and then there's DJ Ben. And DJ Ben is the one that's like, hey, next up is blah, blah, blah. Like I sound like a radio talk show host sometimes with the energy that I force in the microphone. I'm like, that's not, I don't want to be like that all the time, but I have to be.
You're an entertainer, and part of it is being an entertainer.
Yeah, exactly. If I want to just hear music, I'll put on my Pandora or Spotify list or something. If I want to, but if I want to see a show, I want to see a damn show.
Yep. And I say, as somebody who loves going to shows, I'm an appreciator. There's nothing like somebody on stage interacting with you in a crowd. Can you say there's anything more starstruck than, oh my God, they're on stage?
Right? You know the 200 people in the room, or the bartender and the person on stage. Like honestly, like they're going to be the most attention in the room, and they deserve it. Like, and it's our job as audience members to pump them up, give them energy to bounce back at us. So everyone that's going, please, like go, even if it's a band you don't know, check them out. Go fill that room with bodies so the band on stage can be like starstruck, like, oh my God, look at all these people in here to check us out.
They will give the best show if they are that pumped up. And that's what we all do.
Yeah. So like, on top of the bands, you know, giving you something good, give them something too. Like, I feel like that's a fair ask. You're paying to be there. Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it. Gosh darn.
Or else. That was a joke for legal reasons. But yeah.
For the next category. I gotta say that.
What was that? I'm sorry. I can.
I did for the next category too.
Oh well, take it away then. Go ahead, introduce this one. This is one of your things. This is your area. You're always like this.
I appreciate this one. So the next segment, we are going to hear from our judgment. Why don't you do it?
All right. Our next category is creativity. how creative are our bands? How creative is their entertainment? How creative is their music? So let's see what our judges had to say about how creative they want you to be.
Beautiful.
Creativity, unique band sound, look, sound arrangements, or use of instruments, tones, or effects. Creativity. So you're looking for a girthy pedal board?
That always helps, yeah.
Always helps.
The fattest tones are the best tones. No, there's definitely, I think this above like any other one on the list is the one that I'm going to be most interested to see and score pretty critically. I mean, I'm going to be like, try to be fair across the whole board, but this is the one that I think I have the most personal interest in. Like me being in a band myself, that is something that I really try to adhere to a lot, is like maintaining like a lot of creativity. You don't want to just like phone it in on a song. Like I definitely don't want to hear something that sounds like what I've heard on the radio for like the past 40 years. I haven't even been alive for 40 years, but they've been playing the same stuff. Like people have some pretty lazy listening habits sometimes, like the general masses. And I like people who go outside the box and try to be very original. And I respect that a lot. Different instrumentation's cool. Just generally good songwriting too is something I really respect a lot, and I'm hoping to see.
I think sometimes the best way to be unique is just be yourself, because you're already different. So, you know.
Yeah. So I think for me, being the music teacher, I'm really going to focus mainly, I think, on the arrangements within that. I'll be looking at everything, obviously. But for me, I really want to see that, you know, the musical arrangement has thought, and that there's actually been, you know, some sort of process put into how the song is laid out, you know, making sure that each part makes sense with itself, and that each of those unique tones and perspectives is happening within that arrangement of the song, that they're not being forced in. You know, you're not throwing a banjo into something just because you need to have it there. It makes sense with the group of what's happening. You know, if you're not throwing a electronic drum break into the depths of a metal song, unless it really makes sense, you know, and has to be there for the purpose of the song.
All right. Creativity, very important.
I love the be yourself sentiment, because we don't want to see every band on stage sounding the same anyway.
Yeah, I mean, new music is supposed to be that new, so you want to be creative what you're doing. I think also, like, part of it, in addition to what they said, and I absolutely agree with them, but also one thing, like I kind of bring into creativity is your look. How does your band look on stage? They look like, because I've seen some bands, I find that when I see a band that looks like everyone just kind of got dressed out of their own normal, boring, blasé closet that morning, without even planning it, just sometimes just look really disheveled on stage. Like, make sure your look plays in your creativity too. Like, your sound can be emphasized by the image you've created too. So like, these are things that can help each other out a bit.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe when we had Suicide Puppets on our podcast, they had mentioned how dressing cohesively as a band, like that, not just shows that creativity and shows that they're a band on stage, but they walk through the venue and people are like, oh, that's a band.
Yeah, that's a band. Oh, and they're all part of that same band. Like, it makes you more recognizable when you create a brand for yourself like that. Also, I know Nancy Morris, our photographer, loves taking photos at these events, and I think it's more fun for her when she has a high energy band on stage, and if they like have a cohesive look, she can take photos. There it is, everywhere on stage, in the room, and just have more fun for her too. And she's also doing this for free, so like, give her a good show.
A good action shot.
We love a good show. And honestly, like, and that plays right into our next category, which is simply having fun. Like, we want you to look like you're not there for your 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. We want you to be on stage having fun and enjoying yourself, because even though you're working, you're still having fun. So here is what Johnny interviewed with our judges about having fun. Take it away, AL.
Having fun? Did they look like they have fun on stage?
I feel like you really have to sell it to the crowd that you're having a good time, because that'll in turn make them have a better time.
Yeah, you don't want to be sad up there. That'd be terrible. I don't want to see that crap. An artist still has some form of fun, even if they're performing some of their darker toned music. It still has to be, you know, you're getting it off your chest. There still's got to be some form of something.
Right.
You know, something's got to be coming there. Some type of emotion. Maybe it's not fun, but if you can't feel the energy from the performance, then what are we doing?
This, I think, is so important because it's really, really, really easy musically to get stuck in a certain headspace of, you know, you're in the middle of a competition, you know, the lights are shining on you, especially when you're in a stage environment and the lights are bright, you know, they're right in your face. You can't really see the audience. That's the thing that a lot of audience members don't realize is you don't really even know they're there. It's just, there's just this bright light shining at your face. So it's really easy to get into that tunnel vision of just sitting and just letting the music happen, which could be great. But if you don't look like you're having fun, the audience isn't going to be engaged with what's happening on that stage. It's everywhere. I mean, even like you look at professional sports and stuff like that, you got the people that just go out there and, you know, they do the job and they walk away. They're not the ones that are on the news the next day. You know what I mean? It's, you gotta roar the crowd up. You gotta get, yeah.
So yeah, so have fun. And even if you're not having fun, don't look boring. Like, I think that's also a good idea. Like honestly, like, if you could have seen the two of us on camera, we were like before the podcast, and both of us were tired. We were both. I watched it one. I think we had synchronized yawning before we started today's show.
Oh.
We're like, and then the show came up. We're like, I'm here. I'm doing a thing. So like, just, you know,
having fun though. This is fun,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so that's part of it. Is we do work hard, but gosh, we have fun doing it. Work hard, play hard. So same for the bands.
And all of that.
So hard to get to this point. Have fun.
This is, if you're not having fun, listen, you got your anxiety and stress out when you made a music video for the first time. That was the crazy, scary part. Then you had your friends and family judge you on that music video. That was your anxiety. Now you're playing. Now you're doing what you do.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Like this is your time to put on the show. Because honestly, like we said at the beginning, the audience will be there. They will be applauding you for each one. And we have a decibel reader to hear how much fun they are having. Which is the next category, it's the audience reaction. They will be clapping for you. They will be making noise for you. So you need to do everything in your power to get that noise. So here is Johnny's interview with the judges about the audience reaction and what they had to say about it. Take it away.
Audience reaction. Rate how well the audience responded to the band performance.
I think this category is going to be heavily reliant on the band performing well in the stage presence and the having fun categories. Right. Because if they're doing both those things, they're going to get a good response from the crowd.
An artist still has some form of fun, even if they're performing some of their darker toned music. It still has to be, you know, you're getting it off your chest. There still's got to be some form of something. Right. You know, something's got to be coming there. Some type of emotion. Maybe it's not fun, but
maybe it's not, but it is. So,
maybe we'll find out.
Find out this Saturday at the Big Break battle.
I don't know if that was all supposed to cut off there. I wonder if there's more that we're supposed to be seeing.
I'm not sure, but I think we're gonna roll with it. If it cuts us off to play it, then so be it. If not, then we'll just keep rolling, because that's what you do when you're on stage. You just keep going. It's the joys of live theater and live entertainment, guys. Like, there's always something that could change or be different, and you just gotta roll with it and make a joke of it and move on. There is very rarely something so horrendous that happens in a show that should full stop the entire performance of the show. So just roll with it, keep going. And there's so many bands in the area that are there to be heard and play out everywhere. In fact, every week, Robin does a segment for us that announces the live bands and music that will be playing in the area. Obviously, this Saturday, we're a little biased. We want you to come see us at the Keystone Stage for the Big Break, because, you know, 12 bands for $10, that's a pretty good price. But here is Robin's segment. Oh, 13, sorry. 12 bands competing, one band headlining. I am not good. I'm not the math guy. I am the be loud on stage guy sometimes. But here is Robin's segment that is showing you what is going on in the area for the next week. So take it away.
Hi, it's Robin with this week's original shows in northeastern Pennsylvania. On Friday the 25th at the Hazleton Art League in Hazleton, Goblin City Rat Boys and sets from 3 supporting bands. At the Keystone Stage in Oliphant, Rose Amp Hip Hop Night. At Brewski's in Bloomsburg, Uppercut. At the V-Spot in Scranton, Channel 65, Mars Council, and Bullied by the Elderly. And at Hammered Steel Tavern in Tafton, begin stage clearing. On Saturday the 26th at the Keystone Stage in Oliphant, the Big Breaks Season 4 Round 2 live show featuring 12 competing bands plus Static in the Attic headlining. At Ricasa in Pittston, Justin Bravo and The Kind. At Finnegan's in Scranton, Miss Cantaloupe. At Breaker Brewing Company in Wilkes-Barre, Paul Martin. At Harmony in the Woods in Hawley, Mike Miz and the Northeast Extension. At the 1905 Tavern in Scranton, the Dishonest Fiddlers and Village Idiots. At the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains, Candle in the Dark has an album release party with supporting sets from Militia and The Black Layer. And at the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg, the Menzingers. On Sunday the 27th, at Jonathan's in Harvey's Lake, Gracie Jane Sinclair. And at Jam Room Brewing in Greentown, Luke Tinklebaugh. If you want your show featured on the next episode, go to thebigbreak.org/podcast and click the Submit Your Show button. That's all for this week. Make sure to head to a show, spread the word, and support independent artists.
And bands, I know that we tell your venues to contact, but bands tell the venues too. Like, that was just, I'm watching, I'm like, because I feel like Robin doesn't want to get 3 million emails from individual bands for one venue. But if you're playing at a venue, tell them to send an email. So
and the Keystone Stage definitely does submit their shows. I will say that. I appreciate that all the time. Also, I want to note the show at the Jazz Cafe that we just discussed on this segment is a fundraiser for Blue Chip Animal Refuge.
Oh, I like them.
And I wanted to make note of that because they are very close to my heart. And so if anybody is interested in supporting them, all of the proceeds, I know they have a $10 suggested donation at the door, but the proceeds are going to Blue Chip. So if you're, for whatever reason, you will not come to our big party on Saturday, please consider going and helping the baby puppies and kitties.
Or if you want to come see us for a little while, then go see them since we're starting at noon. You can do both.
Yeah, to midnight.
I'm all about that. Like, I love it. And also, like, last time I was at Blue Chip, I went up there. There was a blind old pit bull named Moose, and I loved him so much. And he was deaf. Actually, no, he wasn't blind. He was deaf. But it was like, but he like knew sign language. And I was like, I want this dog. And I was like, no, I can't have a deaf dog in my house. I'm like, there'll be the two of us going, what? At each other all day. So, all right. So we're gonna back up and we're gonna redo the audience participation category. I believe the rest of that video exists now. So Ale, if you already go ahead and take it away with the audience participation.
Yay!
Audience reaction. Rate how well the audience responded to the band performance.
I think this category is going to be heavily reliant on the band performing well in the stage presence and the having fun categories. Right. Because if they're doing both of those things, they're going to get a good response from the crowd.
An artist still has some form of fun, even if they're performing some of their darker toned music. It still has to be, you're getting it off your chest. There still's got to be some form of something. Right. Something's got to be coming there. Some type of emotion. Maybe it's not fun, but if you can't feel the energy from the performance, then what are we doing?
With this, I'm going to start looking a little bit more at I think the natural reaction that we have to music, not necessarily like when the song is over, what's the reaction of the audience. I think we know each band is going to have their particular fans there that are going to be roaring and cheering afterwards, no matter what they do on stage. I'm looking a little bit more to see, is the audience, are the heads bobbing? Is there, is their emotion actually being driven from the band itself? Like if it's a metal band and it's an angry song, is the audience kind of feeling that a little bit? You know what I mean? If it's a funk band with a happy funky song, are they bobbing their heads and feeling what's happening along with that? There's so much more to the way that we feel music as human beings than just that, that clap at the end of the song. So I'm really looking for all those the little inner things within.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It's to be able the skill of being able to draw an emotional reaction from your audience is a huge skill, and it's a hard one to master. Like, you've got to know people and know what they'll connect with you on and really play to that strength when you have especially a contest where it affects your score. So I hope that everyone that's out there that's written original music, like, really pay attention to not just words you're singing, not just the notes you're playing, but the emotion you're putting behind it. Because a lot of times that emotion can completely shift the paradigm of a song. I've heard covers of fast rock songs done as slow ballads, and I wanted to cry with how beautiful they sounded. It just because like they drove out that they switched to me as like well, actually, example, what was the song I heard? Oh, if I can think of it, The Middle by Jimmy Eat World, original, upbeat, fast. I heard a slow version of that, and I was like, this is a really emotionally in-depth song, and I had a completely different vibe just by changing the tone of the song.
But that's the beauty of the creativity and all of that too, is if that comes through. So I think that's a cool time.
Feel something other than my cold beer in my hand. That is, please. I mean, I'll also ice cold kickstand. I'm gonna have my raspberry Serrano. I'm excited for that. I haven't had one in like, I think I haven't had one since the last I ran out. I haven't. Well, no, actually probably since the takeover. I had a lot of them the last takeover, so I took a break. I'm not gonna lie. I was like. I was like, quick, distract them from what Ben's saying. Drink responsibly, folks. And if you're gonna drink like a jerk, get a driver. But don't drink like a jerk. Drink responsibly. Be careful. Be safe. But yeah, kickstands, a little spicy, a little fruity, kind of like me. But but they're my favorite. They are delicious. I do enjoy it, and I look forward to continuing to drink them and work with them. And I can't wait to see what else they come up with. But the next category that we had our judges talk to Johnny about is sportsmanship. Not just for sports anymore. How supportive are you of each other? Are you chill? Are you cool? Are you a bit of a jerk? We'll find out.
Are you mouthing off to the sound guy?
Yeah. Don't vent to the people that work there. Are you? Don't be stupid. If you don't have anything nice to say, come sit by me is what I would normally say. However, in this particular case, I'll be like, nope, just smile and nod. Support each other. You know, if you guys pump each other up, you'll pump up the audience energy and keep that energy consistent the entire night, which means when it comes time for them to judge you and help your scores, they'll be more supportive of you. Some of the bands that have done the best so far that I've met at the takeover competitions were the ones that were pumping each other up and supportive of each other. So
that's what it's about.
Absolutely keep that going. The bands, I know I haven't met all of them, but the ones I met at the Big Break takeovers, the ones that I remember are the ones that supported each other the best. Honestly, just by being like, yo, next is this band. They're great. Check them out. Even if they didn't know who the hell they were. And there were times when they didn't. They were like, I don't know these guys, but check them out. They're great, I bet you. So yeah, here's what our judges had to say about sportsmanship. Go ahead.
Sportsmanship showed fair and generous behavior, treatment of others, of their opponent.
I guess in my mind, this is a category that kind of goes without saying. I feel like if I saw one of these bands just being like a dickhead to another band or just being like rude, arrogant, just being very unsportsmanlike, I'd be inclined to give them a 0 in like every other category too. I'd be like, I don't care. I don't care.
Laying down the law, baby.
Yeah, I mean, not to like flex like ultimate power as a judge or anything, but I'm like, dude, if you're like a shitty person, I'm like not gonna reward you in any other regard either.
Can't be a dick.
Can't be a dick, lose some, you win some.
That's
it's about having fun. It's about having fun.
We're all in it for the same thing. It's as musicians, we have to work together. It's one of those, it's after God, 25, 30 years of me doing this and being a musician, I've had the extremes of working with those musicians that just are not sportsmanlike and working with the musicians that are sportsmanlike. And, unfortunately, I think the ones that are sportsmanlike are the ones that kind of get forgotten. It's the unsportsman ones are the ones, like the Buddy Riches of the world. And, the jerks that kind of rub you the wrong way are the ones you tend to remember. But at the same time, you don't want to keep working with them. You want to find those people that work with you, that have your style, that do what you need to do. It's a community environment and a community activity, playing music. I mean, that's what it was when it began back in the caveman era. It was just a way to come together as a community and do what we need to do. So although these bands are competing against each other, for me, this is so important that, they're supporting each other. You have to. You never know when this same band might be, you might be leading them. You might end up being the fifth down on the ticket, and they're the lead band. You know what I mean? They're the headliner. It really comes down to making sure that each and every band is working together for a common cause. And I think that's why, especially for something like this, we're talking a nonprofit organization like the Big Break, doing something great for the community and working with the community. You can't come into this with this thought of, I need to win at all costs. You got to come in with the thought in your head of like, I'm coming into this in hopes that we're working, I'm going to make some friends, I'm going to make some networks, and I'm going to get to know some people. That's really the winner of all this, will be the people who really do that the most.
100%. And, there it goes, baby. Give it up.
Thanks.
Phenomenal, honestly. I'd give it a grade A on all of these.
Honestly, yeah. You heard it from judges. 2 of them said, don't be a dick. And the third one that works for the school district said it not nicer than that.
You're so right, Ben.
If you guys aren't nice to each other, I'm going to make you all do what we did when we were kids in the sports teams. You have to walk by each other and high five and say, good game, good game, good game, good game. You remember that? Did you ever do? I hated that when I was a kid.
For about 13 years, so that was my life was good game.
I hated that so much. I was like, oh, people I don't know, I'm high-fiving and I'm saying good game. Awkward. And I was a strange, weird kid to begin with.
Here's the sportsmanship lesson: is there's always that one kid you want to give him a little extra on their 5.
Don't break anyone's hands though.
Because it stings. It comes back and
Also,
it stings.
Pro tip on the high five: if you look at the elbow, you'll never miss a high five in your life. Just look at their elbow as you do it, and boop, every time, guaranteed. I have never missed a high five since I learned that. So if you take nothing else away from this podcast, that's how you do a good high five.
You're a professional high fiver, man.
Right. We're good at high fives. All right. So the last category is something that we are always trying to maintain. It's professionalism. Professionalism could just be smiling quietly while you nod your head and bop along. It can be just being chill. It can be being supportive. It can be every single category we've talked about so far in one category. If you put all these pieces together at this puzzle, professionalism is a huge chunk of it. It is what most of them all feed into. So here is what our judges had to say on professionalism. Ale, take it away.
Professionalism, how well the band interacted with event staff, punctuality, setup, and tear down speed.
Yeah, I think professionalism is something that's kind of overlooked a lot. And I think professionalism can even encompass things like which also ties into stage presence, like your dress and everything. You want to look like you're actually there to provide entertainment for somebody. You don't want to just look like you just came off the street necessarily, unless that's your look. It's very important in the eyes of the venues you play at, the people who hire you. You want to put on it's kind of like going to a job interview. You want to make a good first impression. If it's the first time you're playing somewhere and the people were willing to take a risk on booking you, hoping that, not sure how the outcome's going to be, how the crowd's going to be, you want to be respectful enough to show up, do the thing with the professionalism that anybody would expect from any other kind of contracted job.
Yeah, I want to see how fast everything moves. I want to see if the bands show up on time. I'm really interested to see how that whole thing works out.
So as a many years in wedding bands and club band, doing all that stuff, I've worked with many different staffs of many different places. And when you're up on stage and you're trying to make sure that you have the best sound that you could possibly have for the night, it's really easy to look at the sound guy and try to blame him for something, but it's not their fault. You know what I mean? It's not something of that extent. So you got to just cut some slack for these people. You got to realize they're in the same position. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to make sure that they don't want you to go on stage and have a bad night. They want you to have a good day. They want to make sure that you're doing the things you need to do as well. And you just got to make sure that, you're moving quickly, putting your stuff up, getting your stuff teared down. As a drummer, it's so important to make sure that you get your stuff out of the way and get the next guy can come in, especially on these types of shows. Don't break down your stuff in the spot that you are. It's just get yourself off the stage and then break your stuff down. Don't, just a common courtesy of making sure that you're giving the next guy the same amount of time that hopefully you were allotted or that you would have wanted to have yourself as well.
Yes, all that. We are writing an entire storybook here, and we need each chapter to smoothly flow into the next one. So be professional, show up when you're supposed to, set up when you're supposed to, put your things in the side room where your gear is being stored before your set in an order so that you can access it easily when it's your time, and line it up in the order that you're performing. It's not hard to be professional and plan better, because if you plan better and then something does go wrong, it'll be quicker to fix and resolve, and shit happens. We've all dealt with it this year. I have seen one time where and this is at a takeover. I don't remember which band it was because I have a memory of a steel sieve, but there was a band that I heard blame a sound guy openly on the microphone, and I was immediately like, excuse me? I'm sorry. What? The professional that's donating their time to do your sound for your show that you're also donating your time for, something went wrong and you're blaming them? Instantly, that band was like, I was like, nope. Like, I was like, now you're not cool. Now you're being a problem.
I did remember that standing out to me, honestly, since you said that.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a time and place to be honest. And I think that's where the professionalism comes in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a way to say, oh, something happened. Let's get, hey, guys, well, we're waiting for that to get fixed, blah, blah, blah. And then they're saying, sorry, guys, the sound guy dropped the ball. Like, there's a nice way to say that got messed up and it wasn't my fault. And there's a rude way to say it. So the nice way, always, even if you're a metal band, a heavy metal, angry core something band, I don't know, there's a lot of words they put in there.
Too.
I mean, they're usually chill. But like, even if you're like the angriest sounding band in the world, blaming other people because something went wrong in an industry where things are designed to go wrong, because that's pretty much what they are, is not cool. So yeah, be professional, be on time. To our bands out there, a quick shout out, just so you guys know, you've all received emails about this Saturday and the timelines of what's going on. So please check that out, respect it as best you can. If something goes wrong, contact one of us. A lot of you have my info, Robin's info, Al's info, or message The Big Break on Facebook. If something is going wrong, just give us a heads up so we can work with it, because we will work with you. That's professionalism.
Yes, and we do have some more information coming out tonight for our bands. There's going to be an email, so keep an eye out tonight for information, please.
Yes, absolutely. So before we do our final music video, we actually want to share Robin's PA Live segment. So we're going to see Robin on the fancy couch. I believe that's queued up and ready to go. So let's take away that interview with PA Live so you guys can figure out everything. Go ahead, AL.
Welcome back to PA Live. The Big Break Contest challenges original unsigned musicians to embody the total package for the opportunity to win professional grade prizes at no cost to the artist.
This growing venture aims to support independent artists with experience, connections, insight, and most notably professionally quality content they can use to grow and promote themselves to help further their careers.
Here with more about round 2 of season 4's first live in-person elimination round are Robin and Will. It is so good to have you guys. We've talked about the Big Break before, but to be on the precipice of a huge event like this has got to be exciting for the both of you.
Totally.
Yeah. Let's
oh my gosh, guys, get more excited.
Believe me, we're excited.
You're in season 4.
I am so excited right now to be a part of this.
It's so much fun. I think the work that you're doing, and every time we get to talk about the Big Break on this show, I'm so excited for more people to understand the opportunities that you're giving to artists in our area and beyond. So let's explain that before we get into what's happening on Saturday. What exactly do you guys do?
Totally. So with the Big Break, we are a volunteer-run organization, and we have 3 different parts that we kind of operate through. We aim to support independent artists. We work especially with musicians. We do have a contest going on right now. We'll talk a little bit about that. We have our podcast each week on Thursdays called Beyond the Break, where we bring some industry professionals on and try and help spread some information to somebody who might be trying to get a start or get some new insight. We also have our series called In the Break Room, where we invite artists to play stripped down sessions, kind of like an MTV Unplugged feel.
Cool.
And then, yeah, we do have our contest, which is in its 4th season right now. We're not exactly a battle of the bands, but there are some similar elements, like the live events that we have coming up.
Good to have that point of reference, I think, to get everyone on the same page, which is really fun. So we have 12 bands that are competing on Saturday. How did they get to this point?
So the bands that signed up, which we had 40 this season.
That's huge.
Wow.
Yeah, across New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. They are required to go on during our sign-up period and create a homemade music video. They have to do it DIY style. They can't have any paid help. So it kind of pushes their creativity and makes sure that, you know, everything is within the bounds of the contest.
Yeah.
So once they've created their music video, they have a month to get as many votes as they can from the public in order to get to a live round, which is going to be coming up on Saturday, the 26th this month. And from there, they'll battle it out on stage.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so once they go from this round to the next, the ultimate goal is for a winner to be crowned, and then that winner does what with that win, Will? I want you to talk. You're not just a bodyguard, right? I'm like trying to think of something that Robin's in
So
common.
I can.
Big Break is more Robin, and I'm Keystone
Keystone
Stage.
Stage.
So I'm the venue.
Okay, so
Yeah.
why hold this event at the Keystone
Well,
Stage?
the Keystone Stage was created by artists for artists, so we're all into supporting music acts that are just starting out, supporting comics, every type of talent you may have. That's what our goal is as part of the community, as part of the
I
entertainment
imagine
community.
that you see a lot of newly empowered performers at your venue. It's kind of their first chance to perform on a stage like yours. It's got to be really cool to witness.
Yes, it is. I've had wonderful, actually, so many good artists that come through. They come to our Monday open mics, and then they start there. And that I had one artist come to me and say, "Hey, if it wasn't for you, I never would have gone out and performed before. So thank you." And that's what our goal is, just to help elevate artists in their talent.
And you can do that. The artists that are
fun.
participating can get great prizes. We see them right there on the screen. So if someone wants to come to the Keystone Stage to support the Big Break, where are we going to the Keystone Stage if someone's never been?
Well, we're located at 125 Lackawanna Avenue in Oliphant, PA. You can get tickets online for the Big Break event this Saturday at www.thekeystonestage.com. And you can find all our events and shows listed there. And also, I think the tickets, if you buy them online before the show, they're $10, and the day of the show, if you just show up, it's $15 at the door.
Grab it now, save a couple bucks. I love what you guys are doing, though. This is so much fun. And I think also the Keystone Stage, once you're there, you kind of get the bug and you want to go back again and again and again, because it's just so energizing to be around so many passionate people. So thank you for sharing your passion here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Having you guys
We're
stick
so
with us.
excited.
We've got more at PA Live right after this.
So yeah, huge prizes. No, really wonderful interview. No, but there's a
shout
lot.
out
So like,
Rachel and Chris. They were awesome.
We
We didn't
love
get to meet Chris when we went last time, so that was fun.
I always enjoy the PA Live one. I've gotten to go on a few segments over my years, and it's always a fun experience. So they are really awesome professional people who know how to make it flow quickly, and they speak so quickly. But that's what they got to do. You got to pump out the info. Speaking of pumping out info, this Saturday, Keystone Stage in Oliphant. Buy your tickets beforehand online to get a huge discount. Come see the show that goes from noon until midnight, and then karaoke afterwards with me, DJ Ben of LB Entertainment, because I'm going to plug my own business every chance I can as well. And we will all be there hanging out all day long. We've got vendors selling their merch. We've got bands selling merch. We've got all sorts of fun stuff there. It is a BYOB, so feel free to BYOBs. Bring your own drinks and everything. Enjoy yourself. There's some. I believe we have a food vendor that will be there selling something if it's just snacky stuff. There's a couple restaurants that are within a stone's throw. I walked down the road and got myself a pizza last time, so I know there's food available. And so you don't have to leave the show and go eat and not come back. You can just
We've got a
go
little
down
food
the
truck
road.
showing up. Heartstrings, I think they're
Oh, is that
called.
okay?
They've got
There we
some,
go. Thank you,
vegans,
'cause
they got something for everyone.
I could not remember. But yeah, so there you have it. So yeah, come this Saturday. Please support us. We've been supporting these bands. We want you to support them too. Help them win this contest. We've got a lot going on. But we've got our show, our last music video of the night, as we like to play a second one, is Old Kentucky Sharks, Lucky. So here is their music video. Thank you guys. We will see you Saturday. Have a great night.
Bye.
$20 bill on the pavement, and I went was thinking I'm lucky. I don't know the first thing about luck, see, yeah, I was born so unlucky. Whoa. Just the other day got Chinese food, and when I finished my portion, I opened up the cookie and read all about my coming good fortunes. Whoa. Bullshit, I'll admit I've been a stranger to luck, kid. Wanna write a song, play on these words. Fuck luck, give me something to work with. Whoa, whoa. Just the other day driving my car, and I was thinking I'd go far. Checking out the fuel gauge, it said I wouldn't get far up of my way.